Hello, hi, it's Henry the computer guy, and you welcome to our lesson number 49. And in today's lesson, we are actually going to begin with talking about how we can use columns in our document or word processor. Now, by default, our word processor provides us with only one column, but you might be in need of, let's say, putting 3 to 4, 5 columns into your document. So that is what exactly we are going to look at. So they are telling us that most newspapers, magazines, academic journals, newsletters, text are laid out in columns. And you've ever seen those items or columns in the newspapers, they always put them in form of columns. So they're telling us that in the default setting, your word processor has only one column, but you can modify the columns or put the number of columns depending on how you want to design your work or document. So let's look at the diagram that tries to show us how we can access the page layout and add to the columns. So whenever you want to put the columns to your document, you'll come to the page layout tab, then you'll come to what we call the columns and pick the number of columns that you want. So by default, it is always on 1. We also have 2, have 3, we have left and right. That is actually how we can access our columns. We continue, and we have an activity which is 4.7, using columns in our text. And they're telling us that you can change the number of columns by following these steps. Create a paragraph of text or copy and paste some text onto your page. So you can get the text from anywhere, from your computer, then paste it onto that page. So you have to select the text you want to format. Then you will come and select what we call the page layout tab and left click on the columns command. So whenever you click, when you click it, it will give you some of the options. Select the number of columns you want to insert. They can be 2, they can be 3, it can be 1. And they're telling us that we have to note that more columns can be got by selecting the more columns menu. So if you see that anything that you need or the columns you have or you need are not on the list of options they have provided you with, you'll come and go to what we call more columns. Let's try it and see how it works. We have our link to our document, which is down here, and we try using it. So this is our document that we have. Let me get some dummy text because we don't have time to type some information there. So we can use the rand function equals rand. It's going to give us some dummy text here. I can say 6, 3. Then I'll close the bracket. So it is going to give me 6 paragraphs with 3 lines of text. I'll press enter. So that is the information they have actually given me. You see it? So I can make it somehow smaller so that everyone can easily see it well. That is what I'm having. So when we look at our information, we have them as in, or they have been given to us in only one column. But I can decide to put in other columns. So for example, if I highlight or select paragraph 2, I'll come to my page layout, then I'll come and select the columns from the list there. So it is there. They're showing you that we have 1, 2, 3, left, right. So I can say, let's say I need to use 2. So that is how I can apply the command of the columns. But they went ahead and told us that we have to note that if you need more columns, then you have to go to the option for more columns. For example, I want to change, or let's say I want to put 4 because 4 is not here on the list. I'll come to more columns. Then I'll come and say, I increase the number of columns I need. I can even put in a line to separate those columns as we are going to be looking at it. Then we can even put the width of the column and even the spacing of the column because we have the columns here. So we can even put our width of the column and the spacing in the columns. And make the spacing very smaller. So that is it. Then after that, you'll click OK. So you're seeing our columns have been modified. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is how we can put columns into our work. I think we can save this one. So you can come and say Office button, then you click on Save, such that we remain with that content. We can use it more. Close and we continue. And they're telling us that we are going to look at how we can navigate through a document. Navigation is like you're moving through your document. How can you move through your document? So navigation means moving around a document. This can be done using arrow keys shown below or the keyboard shortcuts. Let's try to see. I think you have ever seen those arrows. They are on your keyboard to the right hand side close to the number pad. That one that looks like a calculator. So they are close to that area. And this one takes us up, this one takes us down, this one takes us to the left, this one takes us to the right, to the left, then this one takes us to the right. So you can use those arrows to move through your document. Or you can use the shortcuts or keyboard shortcuts. For example, if I press Ctrl plus Home, and when I've been, let's say, at the end of the document, they will take me to the start of my document. If I press Home alone, if let's have been on a line at the end of a line, it will take me to the start of a line. Then if I click Ctrl plus End when I've been at the start of the document, they will take me to the end of the document. And if I press End only when I've been at the start of a line, they will take me to the end of a line. So we can try that one and see how it works, how you can navigate through your document. Have a link there. So this is the information we're having. So for example, I'm close to this. Let's say if I use my arrow, I can come to the left like this. I can come to the right. I go back to the right. I can go up. Then I can go down. Those are the buttons. Those are the 4 buttons we have talked about. Then we can also make it bigger. Let me make it bigger. For example, I'm at the start of the document and I want to go at the end of a line. That means that I will click the button called End. It takes me to the last. If I press Home again, it takes me to the start. Then if I'm at the start of the document, I want to go to the end of the document, I will be able to press the Ctrl plus End. It takes me to the end of the document. Then if I want to go back to the top, of course, I will say Ctrl plus Home, then they take me back. So I think we've used those buttons and we've seen what they actually do. We can save our work. So we continue. Let me close this one and we continue with our work. And they are telling us that we have an activity which is 4.8 using arrows. So you can even open your document and you also try them out. Open a document with the text. That means that you already have that document. Then press the arrow keys on your keyboard and observe how the cursor moves around the screen. It can either move to the left, to the right, up or down. You can also click your mouse within the document to press the insertion point where you want to type next, for example. So if you, let's say, you cannot use those arrow buttons, you cannot use the, let's say, home, let's say the end buttons, you can as well take your cursor to a certain location where you want to type and even click there. Now, so they're telling us that we can also locate specific text in our document. So locating is like you're looking for something but you don't know where it is. We can locate it in our document. So they're telling us that when a document comprises of many pages, locating specific text might be cumbersome. So word processors have a mechanism of locating our specific text, and that will be the find. You can find any item from your document or any word you feel you want to look for. Let's continue. And we have an activity that is 4.9, which is all about locating specific text. And they're telling us that load a file with text on at least 2 pages. Then click the Home tab. Let's say, click the Home ribbon's Find button to display the Find and the Replace dialog box. Or you can even press the Ctrl plus F as a shortcut. It will bring for you that option that is the Find and Replace. Then enter the text you want to search for. Then type the text that you want to search for, of course. Then you click the Find. Then it will start searching for that text that you want. Then they're telling us that we have to note word searches from the current texts text cursor's position in the document to the end of the file. If your word finds the text, it highlights it. So it will look for that word, then it will highlight it such that you can easily recognize it from the millions of the words that you're having. We continue, and they're telling us that this is how it will look like. When we look for that home tab, we'll look for, let's say, the find and replace options. We can try it and see how it works. Click on our link of the document and takes us there. For example, if I'm looking for the word quick, I'll come and say, let's say, I'll come to the home tab, which is here. Then I'll come and look for the find. The find is here. Or I said you can use a shortcut, which is Ctrl+F. That will also take you where the find is. So when I click on my find, it is here. A moment, let me make this one smaller such that everyone can easily see it. So I'll come to what we call the editing. Then I'll look for the find. When I click the find, they will tell me that you type a word you want to search for. So let me type the word quick. Then I'll say I can first of all even highlight it to see where it is. Highlight all. That means that they are going to be highlighting where the word quick is. You're saying. Then after getting that word, of course I can say I want to replace that word with another word. So I'll type a word, let's say fast. So I want to replace quick with fast. Then I'll say replace all. So when I click replace all, they're going to replace that word with fast. Let me make it bigger. So when I again find and I look for, let's say fast, then I'll say highlight all. So they are going to highlight that word wherever it is. So they have replaced my quick with fast. That is exactly how we can go about that. So we can save our document and close it, then we continue. So, and they're telling us that we are having a grammar and a spelling checker. We can check for the spellings or errors in spellings and error in grammar. For example, you have ever been there and you type a word, then it is highlighted with a wavy red color. That means that the spelling is wrong. Then if it is some sentence is highlighted with the green color, the grammar is wrong. So they're telling us that when you are typing, sometimes a wavy red or green line appears beneath your text. Red and green wavy lines indicate spelling and grammatical errors respectively. So whenever you see that red wavy, it means spelling is wrong. Whenever you see that green color or wavy line and it is a green in color, that means that the grammar is not fine or you have an error in grammar. So missing a space after a comma or a period or doubling of a word. Let's say you type they and they at the same time. That means that it is also taken as or detected as a mistake. Below is an example of a word or a spell checker in action. So someone was typing those words. You're saying that when you are typing, let's say same times, the worthy and others. So the words are not right. That means that typing is not TYIP. So that is a mistake. Then sometimes it is also not this one. Then the wave is not this one. The spelling is not this one. And error is not this one. That's why they are highlighted with a wavy red. That means that it is indicating that the spellings you're having are wrong. We continue. We can try it and see in our document. And that is the document we are having up here. Now when we look at our document up here, you look at it. So when you are typing, this word is now showing a wavy. Now this one is showing a wavy. That means that all these words that are showing the red color are having a spelling which is wrong. Then when you come to the green, that means that the grammar is not okay. You're seeing down here, we have errors respectively, but they put some two spaces here. That means that the grammar is not right. That is what we mean by spelling and grammar checker. We continue. And we have an activity that is 4.11 and it is text proofreading. So proofreading is like you're going to go through your text to find whether you have some errors. So they're telling us that we are going to open a new document, then mistype a word so that the wavy red line appears. For instance, typing. If you write that word when it is wrong, it will highlight it with something that is red wavy. Then right click on the underlined word, then a context sensitive menu will pop up that will give you the options you have to select from, and that is how it will appear. So for example, you have this word, right click where it is, they will give you a menu, a pop-up menu which has some options you can use to select from. So they're telling us that click on the correct suggestion, the mistyped word will automatically be replaced. Then they're telling us that in case word does not make any suggestion, then check whether maybe you left out a space after a period or a comma. Please note that there are many proper nouns and specialist terms that word does not recognize. For example, if you write a Luganda name is not recognized by the word processor, so it will always highlight it with a red wavy color. But that doesn't mean that the name is wrong. So what you'll do, you'll just go where that name is, then you right click and ignore that error. We continue. They're telling us that we have a tip. A wavy red line does not always mean that you have made a mistake. So even the name you have typed for Luganda is not a mistake, it is right, but word does not recognize it, or a word processor does not recognize it. So what you do exactly, just go where that word is, right click and ignore the error. So it will just go away. Let's try it and see. For example, when we come back to our document, we have this red other. This is red, this is red, this is red, and this is green. So this is grammar, this is the spelling. So if I write or want to replace this word with something that is right, I'll right click where it is. Then they will give me some suggestions. For example, typing is written like this, so I can select that. Or if, for example, I come down here and I write, let's say, a name, let's say Jito. Let me write my name. So when I type my name, remember for me, I've ever added it in the dictionary such that it can be recognized. Let me say I write another name. Let's say write another name. Let's say Nakawoya. So when I type the name Nakawoya, do you see that that name has been, let's say, put on a wavy red? That means that the name Nakawoya is not recognized by a word processor. So what you do, if you want to fill, you want to leave it like this. So what you do, you right click and ignore. That means that I can even add it to the dictionary such that whenever I use it, they recognize it as Nakawoya and they will not put that wavy red color below it. So I can put it or add it to the dictionary, or I can just ignore all. That means that the wavy red color is not going to be displayed onto that name. And also on the, let's say respectively here, we have some errors. So I can even come and they give me the suggestions I can use. Then I can correct it if I want. For example, let's correct only for typing. I'll right click, then I say typing. So the color goes away. That is it. So we can save our document and continue. We continue, and they're telling us that we have character formatting. We want to format our characters. Characters can be numbers, can be letters, can be symbols, but we want to format them. So formatting is the art of making your document effective and attractive. Specifically, it's all about enhancing the appearance of a document. So good formatting distinguishes different parts of your text and helps your readers to take your message. For example, this is now my heading up here. It is bigger than the text I'm having below here. So it can even make some things visible. I've given them the color, you see it. So I've formatted them in a way such that this is appearing as a heading and these are appearing as some other things. So it can differentiate between this heading and this content below. So word processors provide a wide range of tools that can help you to create professional looking documents. Characteristics that affect the appearance of one or more characters are called character formats. You can apply formatting to just about every element of your document, from a single character to entire paragraph. I can even do let's say the formatting on one character or the whole of the document. So long as I've selected that item, I'll be able to put the character formatting. So they're telling us that the formatting ribbon below contains the functions which can format characters, sections, and paragraphs. And that's how it looks like. So for example, you can use all of these items here to format your characters the way you want. You can increase the size, you can increase the text, you can change the font style, you can bold, make many changes onto that item that you feel you want. We continue. And they're telling us we are also talking about the changing the font. You can change the font color, you can change the font style. Use the font dialog box to format characters. They can be letters, they can be numbers, and punctuation marks are all printable characters, and as such, you can format them. Once you select a character or group of characters, you can apply any of the formatting commands on the Home tab's font group. You can choose a font and a size for any characters in your document. You can make changes, like, for example, you can make something bold, you can make something underlined, you can make something make it a superscript, or change them the way you just feel you want. You can change the color, the appearance, everything that is on that character that you have selected can be changed. So let's try it and change, let's say make something bold, make something underlined, and others. Let's try it here. For example, when I come here, let's make this one smaller for everyone to see. For example, if I'm here, I can write, let's say, the word Henry. So when I type Henry, remember we said that any change you want to make on any item, you first have to select or highlight it. I'll come and say I can bold, I can make it italics, I can make it underline, I can increase, I can put the color, let's say I put it to, let's say, green, blue, anything that you feel you want to put onto that. Or I can come down here. For example, I have a formula. I'll say, let's say, x and a 2 plus x and a 3. Then that will be equal to 0. So let me make it somehow bigger such that you can be seeing it. You see, that is it. We can make something of a formula. Let's say, for example, I need this one as a base. I'll come and I highlight only my 2. I make it as a subscript. It goes down. I make this one as a superscript because I want it to be a power. I will highlight it, then I come to this. It is that. So I've made a formula. Simple as that. Let's save it and we continue. So you can make any modifications on something that you have highlighted or selected. Or font. We continue. And they are telling us that we are having an activity that is 4.12, which is also all about character formatting. And they're telling us that select the text you want to format, as we have done it. Then find the font field on the home ribbon. Then that is how it will look like. We have the font, then the size are aside here. Then we come and say click the drop down arrow next to the font field. Then a list with the countless font choices appear. Then you're going to select them the way you look at them, like that. So that is how you can do it. So that means that we shall come to our font. Then when we come to our font, we click on the drop down. We choose what we want. Then on the size also, we shall be doing it the same way, like that. We continue. And we have another activity which is also the same, which is 4.12. We are still continuing with it. They're telling us that we select the font you want by clicking its name. You can also change the font size to your preference. For example, 12, 11. It can even be having some points. And they're telling us that first select the relevant text. After selecting it, find the font size field on the home ribbon and click the drop down arrow. Then on the list, find the font size that suits you and click it. It can be 12, it can be 14 or any other. You can also format your text to be bold, italics or underline. Tip. We have a tip down here. You can also specify your own font size by clicking in the font size field and typing the size that you want, and afterwards you press enter. For example, that is the size that we have. Let's try and do onto our document and see. So we have this. Let's make it smaller for everyone to see it. We have this one, for example. I have this formula. I'll come, for example, I'll choose, for example, I can make it as this. That is the style I've used. After using the style, I can come and choose the size. It can be 12, it can be 14, it goes on increasing depending on the number you go to. Or if at all you see that the size that you want is not on the list. For example, we have made it 20, but we want something, let's say, of a point. We'll come here. Let's say I want 18.5. So I'll come and type 18.5. Then I press enter. So they're telling me that it is invalid. That is not used. So we can look for another one. Let's say I type, let's say 14.5 and I press enter. So it is actually accepting it. So now I've used the 14.5, but it is not existing in my list. That is how we can apply it there. We continue. Let's save this one and we continue with our work. Close and we continue. And we have an activity and it is all about bolding. It is 4.13. Bolding, italicizing and underlining. So they're telling us that select the relevant position of your text, then click the appropriate character formatting button on the home ribbon. Then you can use the bold, you can use the italic, you can also use the underline. And they're telling us that the drop down arrow next to the underline button offers you a choice of underline styles. So that means that you can underline in different ways, as we are going to see it. Then to turn a character formatting off, select the text and click the same button again. So if you had selected it and want to remove it, so you go back and click where you want, then click on it, it will deselect it. And that is how we are going to do it. Let's have a trial. Let's click a link to our document. So we have it there. For example, let me make it smaller for everyone to see it. For example, we want to make something bold. For example, this is, let's say, Nakawoya. I said we can add this one to that dictionary such that it can take away that color. I can hammer and highlight Nakawoya. After highlighting it, we can say we want it when it is bold. Let's say we want it when it is italics. Then underline. When you just click on underline, to just underline with that. But if you want to use a different type of underlining, you click on the drop down arrow. I can use the double. I can use the zigzagger like that. So you can go on increasing. Then increase the size also if you feel you want. Like that. So that everyone can see Nakawoya very well and clearly. So if at all I want to, let's say, turn off this changes that I've put on or the character formatting. What I'll do, for example, if I'm down here and they're still there, I can go on deselecting them or clicking on them such that it goes away. That is very simple. We close and continue. Save and continue. So we close this one, we continue with our work. And we are actually going to be looking at what we call aligning of the text. How can we align our text? It can be either be to the left, to the center, to the right, or justified. So they're telling us that by default, paragraphs are usually left aligned. The left margin is straight, but the right margin is jagged. Word provides you with a number of other options though. That means that they can also, it is not only left, they can provide with others. Just position your cursor anywhere in the paragraph and click on one of the text alignment buttons on the home tab. It depends on what you feel that you want to use. So we can align to the left, Oh, aligned left, text is aligned to the left margin, but jagged on the right. Then center, text is centered within each line with jagged margins on both left and right. Then align to the right, text is aligned to the right at the right margin, but jagged on the left. Then justified, text is aligned to both left and right margins. Word does this by adjusting the amount of spaces between the words. That means that when you adjust or you put the justify option, it is going to be put to either left and right, but adding extra spaces between those characters that you have. That is it. We have the left, this side. That means that we can align to the left, we can align to the center, to the right, then justified. They also have shortcuts, Ctrl L, Ctrl E, Ctrl R, and Ctrl J, if you want to try them out using the shortcuts. Let's try them down here. We click our link to the document and make it smaller. For example, we have our name Henry. Let's make it to be red such that it is visible. We can as well increase its size. So that is the name we have. Let me remove the underlining and the italic. So that is the name that I have. So if I want to make any change on it, I'll highlight it. Then I can come and say I want to align to the center. It goes to the middle. I align to the, let's say, right, it goes to the right. If I say justified, now it appears like it has come back to the right, but it's not. It is justified. So if we at all, let's say, highlight all this text and justified, so we put it on just, they align it to both either the left and right, adding extra spaces between them. Are we together? That is actually how we can try using the alignments in our document. Let's save and continue. So I don't want to actually make the video too long. I'm going to stop here. We shall actually add on in the next video. It's been Henry the Computer Guy, and thank you for watching. You can help me share the link to those people who actually need it. So bye bye. I sign out.